Royal drama. New insider details show Kate Middleton and Prince William's private battles. Private battles. We think we know William and Kate. The perfect smiles. The fairy tale marriage. But behind palace doors, a different story has been unfolding. The image is familiar. Prince William and Kate Middleton, standing side by side, calm, united, composed. Years of public appearances have trained the world to see stability, strength, and certainty. Yet what the cameras never show is the pressure that begins the moment the doors close behind them. Because the truth is, no royal marriage is lived entirely in public. And this one, especially, carries a weight few could endure. Not long ago, insiders quietly noticed a shift. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, just small changes. A pause before answering, a different energy in shared appearances. The kind of subtle signals only those closest would recognize. It raised a question many were afraid to ask. Were William and Kate facing private battles the public was never meant to see? The first thing to understand is this. Their relationship has always existed in two worlds. One is the love story the public knows, built on years of patience, trust, and shared history. The other is a life shaped by duty, expectation, and relentless scrutiny. Those two worlds don't always move in harmony. From the earliest days of their relationship, Kate was not just choosing William. She was choosing an institution. Every step she took forward meant surrendering a degree of freedom. And William knew that. That knowledge has always shaped how they relate to one another. Love, yes, but also responsibility. And responsibility changes everything. Insiders describe moments of quiet tension, not explosive arguments, but emotional distance that creeps in when pressure accumulates. When expectations pile up. When decisions stop being personal and start being strategic. These aren't the kinds of battles that break a marriage overnight. They're the kind that test it slowly. One source close to the palace suggests that the greatest strain comes not from conflict between them, but from the roles they must perform. William, carrying the weight of his future as king. Kate, expected to embody calm, warmth, and resilience at all times. Together, they must appear unshakable. Even when they don't feel that way. There have been periods where William's focus narrowed entirely to duty. Meetings, briefings, long-term planning for a crown he never truly wanted, but must one day wear. During those times, insiders say Kate often became the emotional anchor, holding the family steady while quietly managing her own fears and frustrations. That imbalance can quietly reshape a relationship. But then the question emerges. Who supports the supporter? Friends of the couple suggest Kate has faced moments of isolation, not because William is absent in love, but because the structure of royal life leaves little room for emotional vulnerability. There are things she can't say publicly. Feelings she must contain. Concerns she must process in silence. William, on the other hand, carries scars that never fully heal. The loss of his mother. The constant comparison to his father. The expectation that he must get everything right. Those experiences shaped him into someone deeply guarded. And when two guarded people try to protect each other, misunderstandings can quietly grow. Insiders describe conversations that circle the same themes. How much to share, how much to protect the children, how much of themselves they can afford to lose to the institution. These aren't dramatic showdowns. They are quiet negotiations that happen again and again. There were moments, sources say, when Kate pushed for normalcy. Simpler routines, more private, family time, fewer public obligations. William understood, but the reality of his role often pulled him back. And every time that happened, a new tension emerged. How do you balance love with legacy? The public rarely sees how strategic every decision must be. Even small choices like travel schedules or public appearances are carefully weighed. When a couple must consult advisors before acting on personal instincts, intimacy changes. Privacy becomes rare. Spontaneity nearly disappears. And yet, despite these pressures, there are also moments insiders describe as deeply grounding. Quiet evenings. Shared laughter away from cameras. Parenting that reconnects them to why they chose this life together in the first place. These moments don't erase the battles. But they soften them. What makes this story compelling isn't the idea that William and Kate are falling apart. It's the reality that they are holding together under extraordinary strain. A strain most marriages will never experience. Some insiders suggest that the last few years forced a reckoning. A realization that survival requires adaptation. That emotional distance, if left unchecked, becomes habit. And habits can be dangerous. That awareness, sources say, prompted difficult but necessary conversations. William, according to those close to him, has grown more conscious of emotional presence. Not just physical proximity, but availability. Listening. Being there beyond the role. Kate, meanwhile, has learned to assert boundaries, protecting her emotional well-being in ways she once sacrificed quietly. Still, questions linger. Are these adjustments enough? Can love remain central when duty never loosens its grip? These questions don't have neat answers. And perhaps they never will. What is clear is this. Their private battles are not scandals. They are human struggles amplified by power, history, and expectation. They are the unseen cost of a life lived for others. The fascination comes from recognition. Because beneath the titles, this is a story about partnership under pressure. About choosing each other again and again in circumstances that rarely allow simplicity. As the future approaches, the weight will only grow heavier. The crown moves closer. Public attention intensifies. The margin for error shrinks. And yet, insiders say there is a quiet determination between them. Not perfection. Commitment. The truth the palace never announces is that stability is not the absence of struggle. It is the decision to face it together. William and Kate's story isn't defined by the battles themselves, but by how they continue to navigate them, privately, imperfectly, and with an understanding that love in their world is never just personal. It is historical, it is symbolic, and it is constantly tested. That is the reality behind the smiles. And that is why their private battles matter far more than the public will ever be told.